built on AWS transform every stage of the sales process, from finding and qualifying leads to enriching contact data, analyzing sales conversations, automating outreach calls, and generating proposals. This is a patterns and architecture session. So we will cover real use cases that we have implemented and show you how all these pieces fit together technically. And we will discuss what the business impact of this is going to be and what you can expect. So let's start with the reality of sales operations today. Your sales representatives spend a large portion of their time on activities that are not actually selling. They research leads, they write notes, they update the CRM, they build proposals. So the actual conversations with prospects, the part that really generates revenue, gets only a fraction of the day. Lead research alone takes several minutes per contact when you are doing that manually. Someone has to search the web, check the company website, look for social profiles, copy that data into a spreadsheet, and then you have to multiply that by hundreds of leads per week. So you have a significant time investment that produces no direct revenue. Meeting notes are other problem. After a call, most of what was discussed fades quickly. The insights from a great discovery call can vanish because nobody had time to document them properly. When a deal moves to a different representative, all that context disappears. When you go to the proposals, this can take hours of copying and pasting from different templates, customizing sections, pulling in pricing and formatting. And the result often has errors, wrong pricing, outdated terms, mismatched product descriptions. And here is what is really hard to measure. Your best salespeople all can leave because they spend more time on administration than on actually selling. So you have a retention problem that is disguised as a process problem. The question is, which parts of the sales process benefit most from intelligent automation? And how do you implement this in a responsible way? We organize the intelligent sales process around 4 pillars. Each one addresses a different stage of the sales cycle, and each one can be implemented independently or as a part of a connected system. The first pillar is a lead generation and contact enrichment, where agents find target companies based on your ICP, your ideal customer profile, identify the right decision makers, and verify their contact information. Also score the leads by fit and intent. We have already built and deployed this exact solution using a multi-agent architecture where specialized agents work in parallel to enrich prospect data. The time savings are dramatic compared to manual research. The second pillar is meeting analysis and performance tracking. Every sales conversation gets recorded, transcribed, and analyzed automatically. The system extracts action items, tracks commitments made by both sides, and measures how each representative performs against your sales methodology. We built a call validation system that audits every single call, identifies speakers, validates script compliance, and generates performance reports. The same pattern applies directly to sales conversations. You can implement this in the way you like. For example, we also have it internally. We use Slack. So we have a Slack channel per representative. So after each call is finished, automatically it gets a sales coaching feedback with what happened in that call and what could have been done better. So the idea is to have a really quick feedback loop to make fast improvements. The third pillar is voice agents for customer outreach. These are intelligent phone agents that qualify inbound leads, schedule appointments, send payment reminders, and handle routine follow-up calls. They hold natural conversations, understand context, and execute actions in your systems during the call. We have implemented this using Amazon Connect with speech-to-speech models that are pretty quick and can have these natural conversations that looks like talking to a human, but has the ability to connect to internal calls of your systems. The fourth pillar is proposal and content generation assisted by AI. The system takes discovery notes, applies your pricing rules, pulls from your product catalog, and generates customized output. We built a similar system for a real estate company that generates complete advertising variants, both for copy and images, from a simple campaign brief. And this same pattern extends to proposals, sales decks, and follow-up materials. You do not have to implement all these four at once. Most organizations start with one, with the pillar that addresses the biggest bottleneck, prove the value, and then expand from there. The first pillar is where most sales teams feel the pain immediately. Manual lead research is slow, error-prone, and impossible to scale. We built a multi-agent prospect enrichment system that solves this. Here's how it works. You provide a list of target companies or criteria like industry, company size, and geography. And then you have a supervisor agent that receives the request and breaks the work into parallel tasks, delegating each task to a specialized agent. The company agent searches the web for corporate information, visiting company website, extracting structured data from public pages, and building a profile of the organization. The profile agent searches professional networks and public directories to identify the right contacts, their roles, their titles, and their relevance as decision makers. Then you have a contact agent that takes those identified people and finds verified email addresses and phone numbers using public sources and lookup services. All this runs in parallel. So for a single company, the entire enrichment process takes seconds instead of several minutes of manual work. The system can scan an enormous number of sources, including the entire public web, professional repositories, and structured databases. The validation layer is critical. Every data point gets a confidence score based on the source and the verification checks it passed. High confidence data goes straight to your CRM, and medium confidence data gets flagged for human review, and low confidence data gets discarded. One important note on data sources, this is a disclaimer that I have to mention. All the information comes from publicly available sources, company websites, public directories, published contact pages. Each organization is responsible for ensuring the use of enriched data that is compliant with the local regulations. The second pillar turns every sales conversation into structured, actionable data. Think about what happens after a typical sales meeting. And the rep writes a few bullet points in the CRM if they remember to do so. The nuances of the conversation, the specific objections that were raised, the competitor that was mentioned, the budget timeline discussed, most of that information gets lost. So we built a call validation and analysis system that processes every single conversation automatically. The architecture has three layers. First, the audio gets transcribed with speaker identification. So you need to use a model that supports diarization. Second, an analysis pipeline runs multiple checks in parallel, script compliance validation, sentiment analysis, and structure extraction of action items, commitments, and key decisions. And third, The results flow into a performance dashboard and sync back to your customer records. We built a call validation and analysis system that runs in production today. It audits every call, identifies speakers, validates script compliance, and generates performance reports. Managers see a real-time dashboard with per representative scoring and ranking based on actual conversations behaviors. Applied to sales, this means every discovery call, every demo, every negotiation, conversation gets analyzed. The system identifies which representatives ask the best discovery questions, which ones handle the objections effectively, and which ones consistently establish clear next steps. So managers make coaching decisions based on data from hundreds of conversations, not from one call they happen to listen to. The compounding effect matters. Across hundreds of meetings, you build an intelligence layer that reveals patterns in your sales process that were previously invisible. The third pillar is voice agents for customer outreach. This is where intelligent automation makes direct contact with your prospects and customers through natural phone conversations. We implemented an intelligent phone agent system using Amazon Connect as the telephony layer, connected to a speech-to-speech model that processes audio directly without intermediate text conversion. This gives you response latency under seconds, so this is barely noticeable. This means the conversation flows naturally without awkward pauses. The use cases span the full sales cycle. Voice agents qualify leads by having real conversations, asking discovery questions, and determining fit. They schedule and confirm appointments, freeing your representatives to focus on the actual meetings. They follow up after proposals with a personalized call instead of another email that gets ignored. So they can handle also payment reminders and renewal conversations with an empathetic, consistent tone. The backend architecture uses multiple specialized agents too. You can have an authentication agent verifying the caller, a support agent handling product and service questions by searching your knowledge base that has your product manuals. You can have a sales agent handling qualification and scheduling by accessing your CRM. And this is all things that you can configure, and you can give each agent a task and a specific personality and a different voice if you want. And the scaling advantage of this is significant. You can run hundreds of concurrent call sessions. During a campaign, you can reach thousands of contacts in a single day without hiring temporary staff. And the quality is consistent on every call, whether it is the first call of the day or the number 1,000. The fourth pillar covers intelligent content generation applied to both sales proposals and marketing materials. For proposals, the process works like this. When a deal reaches the proposal stage, the agent gathers context from multiple sources, discovery notes from the meeting analysis system, customer requirements from the deal record, and relevant reference materials from your knowledge base. It selects the right template, customizes each section using the specific customer context, applies your pricing rules, including any approved discount, if there's any, and produces a draft. Then a human reviews, adjusts, and approves before it goes to the customer. It is important at this stage to have a human in the loop to validate that what you are sending is accurate. For sales content, we built a system for a real estate company, as I mentioned previously, that generates complete advertising variants from a single campaign brief. So you enter a product description, select the target audience and the channel, and choose creative angles like emotional, functional, or aspirational. And the system generates multiple variants with both copy and matching images. Each variant is always respecting the brand guidelines that you can enter. The architecture uses an orchestration layer that coordinates between copy generation and visual generation services, both powered by Amazon Bedrock. Generated asset and their metadata get stored for retrieval and reuse. The critical design principle across all content generation is human in the loop. The agent produces a draft, but a human approves the final version. This is mandatory for proposals because they represent contractual commitments. For marketing content, it ensures brand consistency and message quality. The agent accelerates the work, but the human ensures the quality. Now, let us look at how all four pillars connect into a single system on AWS. You have the flow starting with your lead sources, whether it's purchase list, inbound form submission, or a target account criteria. Enrichment agents process these leads in parallel, validate the data, score it, and push qualified leads into your CRM. The lead prioritization logic identifies which leads are ready for outreach. The voice agent makes qualification calls through Amazon Connect, schedules meetings with interested prospects, and logs structured results back to the customer record. When a meeting happens, the meeting analysis agent captures the conversation, transcribes it with speaker identification, extracts structure intelligence, and feeds it to the deal record. When discovery is complete and the deal is ready for a proposal, the content generation agent assembles a draft from the accumulated context. Then a human reviews and sends the proposal. The deal processes through your pipeline with full documentation at every stage. The architecture has three layers. The data layer using S3 for documents and generated assets. You also have Amazon Bedrock knowledge bases for semantic search and vector databases for fast retrieval. And you have an agent layer using also Amazon Bedrock for model inference with multi-agent orchestration patterns running on managed infrastructure that handles computed isolation and scaling. Tool calling connects agents to your business systems. The operations layer handles observability, policy guardrails, and human approval workflows. Important design principle is that each pillar works independently but shares a common data backbone. You can implement lead enrichment without voice agents. You can add meeting analysis without proposals. And the architecture supports incremental adoption. Before implementing any agent, you need to determine whether the process actually benefits from an intelligent agent or whether simple automation would work better. From our experience building these systems, there are 5 signals that point toward a nation solution. First signal is unpredictable inputs. If every request looks different, if the process cannot be captured in a flowchart with a fixed branches, then rigid automation breaks down. A lead qualification call is a good example. Every prospect has different needs, different objections, different questions. An agent can adapt whether a script cannot. The second signal is reasoning. The task requires analyzing multiple data points and making a judgment call. Lead scoring requires weighting the company size, technology fit, budget signals, engagement history, and timing. The third signal is human-like interaction. If the process involves back and forth dialogue, understanding intent behind words, and adjusting tone or approach in real time, you need agent capabilities. The fourth signal is multi-system access. If the task requires reading from or writing to several different business systems during a single workflow, an agent with tool calling capabilities handles this in a better way. And the fifth signal is continuous improvement. If the solution needs to get better over time as conditions change, agents with memory and feedback loops are the right approach. And the critical counterpoint is if a task is predictable, follows fixed rules, and does not require reasoning or dialogue, traditional automation is faster to build, is cheaper to run, and is easier to maintain. Intelligent automation adds value when applied to well-defined problems that require flexibility and judgment. This evaluation step is essential. Building an agent for a process that does not need one is a waste of money and is adding unnecessary complexity. So before building anything, you need to evaluate readiness across 4 dimensions. Skipping this step is the most common reason agent process fail or get stalled. First is data readiness. This is the first and the most frequent blocker. The agent needs data to do its work, and that data has to be accessible through callable interfaces. If your customer data lives in a system with no way to query it programmatically, the agent cannot reach it. If your product catalog has never been indexed for search, the proposal agent has nothing to pull from. We consistently find that data readiness is the #1 factor that determines whether an agent project succeeds quickly or gets delayed. Architecture readiness means your technical infrastructure can support agent workloads. Your system needs documented callable interfaces. Your cloud environment needs compute capacity for model inference. Your network needs to support latency requirements, especially for voice agents where every millisecond matters. Governance readiness is often underestimated, but you need clear policies for what each agent can and cannot do. A proposal agent should never commit to pricing outside approved ranges. A voice agent should transfer to a human for sensitive topics. You need audit trails that show what the agent did, why it did it, and what data it used. And lastly, you have organizational readiness, and this is about people. Is there an executive sponsor with budget authority? Does your technical team have the skills to build and maintain agents? Are end users prepared for new workflows? A change management determines whether a technically excellent system gets adopted or ignored. So for each dimension, identify whether you are ready, conditionally ready, or with addressable gaps or blocked. And blocked items need resolution before you start building. The business impact of intelligent agents in the sales process has 5 dimensions. Cost reduction, this is the most straightforward, and then revenue growth, productivity gains, customer experience, and risk reduction. The impact scales with your volume. The more leads, calls, meetings, and proposals your team handles, the greater the return. During the discovery phase, for instance, we help you model the specific impact for your organization by looking at your costs, your volumes, or your pay points. So this gives you a concrete business case with numbers that reflect your reality and not some generic industry averages. So how do you start with this? Implementation follows 3 phases, each designed to reduce the risk and build confidence before expanding. Phase 1 is discovery, when you map or we map the current sales process or from lead to close, identifying where time and money are lost, and where the evaluation is made of which stages are good candidates for intelligent agents. So here we have the assessment for readiness across data, architecture, governance, and organization. And we select 1 or 2 use cases for a pilot and build a business case with projected value and required investment. Then you have the pilot, where we actually build the agent for the selected use case connected to the necessary data sources and business system, define the guardrails and approval workflows, and test it with a small group of users. And the key is measuring against success criteria that we defined upfront. Phase 3 is scaling for to production over a number of weeks, where we refine the solution based on what you learned from the pilot, adding remaining use cases incrementally, training the broader sales team, and deploying monitoring and alerting, establishing an ongoing optimization process. The prioritization principle is straightforward. Start with the use case that combines the highest business value with the best data readiness. The combination gives you the fastest path to measurable results. So we can help you with any of all or all of these phases. We have done this across multiple industries and solution types. Prospect enrichment, call analysis, voice agents, content generation, document processing, and predictive analytics. So we have a number of questions that are usually asked, for instance, in the areas of security and compliance, cost and investment, team and skills, and timeline and risk. We can go in detail over this if you are interested, and we can set up a call. I think Andres shared a link where we can set up a meeting. We can talk in detail about this. Let's see if we have some question from the audience. I don't know, Andres.
Yes,
Okay.
we have here a couple. First one, someone says we already have Salesforce automation and HubSpot. Does this replace them?
No, no, agents do not replace your existing tools. Well, they can, but they don't have to. They integrate with them. The agent calls Salesforce or HubSpot through their application programming interfaces, the same way a human user would, but faster and in a more consistent way. So if a lead gets qualified by the voice agent, it updates the deal stage in Salesforce. If the meeting analysis agent extracts action items, it can create tasks in HubSpot. So your current investment remain intact. The agent is a new layer of intelligence on top of your existing stack, not a replacement. Of course, we are talking about these specific use cases. There might be cases where you can create new agents to replace tools that you already have, but they don't have to. You can use this as this additional layer I mentioned.
Thanks. Another question, what is the difference between this and just building a chatbot?
Okay, a chatbot normally just answers questions from a knowledge base that you have. So you ask something, it retrieves the most relevant document and gives you a response. So this is great for a first step, but an agent goes beyond that. It reasons about the problem, accesses multiple systems, takes actions, and adapts its approach based on the context. A chatbot can tell you a lead company size, but an agent can research the lead, score it, schedule a call, run the qualification conversation, extract action items, draft a follow-up proposal. So when your use case requires multi-step reasoning, access to multiple tools, autonomous action, this is where you would be better suited using an agent. Is there another question?
Yes, we have two more. One here. How do we measure if this is actually working?
Okay, it is really important to define your success metrics before the pilot starts. Common metrics include the time saved per lead research, for instance, for these use cases, percentage of meeting insights captured versus missed, number of qualified leads per day from voice outreach, proposal turnaround time, I don't know, you name it. Measure the baseline before the agent goes live, run the pilot for a defined period, and compare the results. So, without this having baseline numbers, without the baseline measurement, you have no way to prove the value and no way to justify expanding the system. So we help you define these metrics during the discovery phase, so the pilot has a clear success criteria from day one.
Excellent. The last one. If the agent can research, qualify, follow up, and move deals forward, should the sales team be worried or just start calling it their manager?
It depends of how much autonomy you give it, and also what points you define where there's a human in the loop. So if you have the well set up guardrails and you have a proper supervision, you can trust the process and use it as a co-pilot that is helping you going faster. But yeah, you have to be very careful to set up these touch points where you have a human in the loop and you have proper guardrails just to prevent the agent to do things that you shouldn't have to do.
Okay, that's all, Marcelo. Thank you very much. Thank you, all the audience. I already sent a link if you would like to discuss your particular project with us. You have here our contacts, and it was a pleasure being here. Thank you again, Marcelo, and see you next time.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Andres. Thank you all for joining today. Okay, we cover a lot of information. If you want to go deeper on any of these items, just call us or click on the link
Wait a second, Marcelo. We have additional questions here.
Okay.
How does the Salesforce integration work with this tool? I think that you mentioned something about that, but
Okay. Yes. Any integrate. I can answer this on a more general way, so it's useful for more attendees. This can interact with any other tool that can be accessed either by API or also via a browser. Internally, we can use a part of Bedrock that is called Agent Core that has a capability, has a section that is called Gateway that gives you the access to different tools. So for tools that have an API, you can do actions, you can perform actions on that API. So you can read information or you can write information to another system. So how would it work? In the way that you defined it. So the agent can do whatever you allow it to do with that specific tool, and just insert that in your process, something that you have to define and map beforehand. But when the time comes that there's a specific task that requires calling an external tool for getting information or for storing information or for deleting or for doing anything that you like, the agent can do it automatically.
okay, and now I think, yes, this is the last one, sorry. Do you track any KPIs metrics after implementation?
Yeah, for sure. As I mentioned, this is something that you need to define beforehand, and there are specific business metrics that you can define, and also for the normal behavior of the agent. And there are evaluation procedures that you can be running, and there are many that are already predefined inside Bedrock, where you can perform automatic evaluations to see how the agent is responding to queries in comparison with a golden database that you set up at the beginning.
Okay, I think you are done now.
Okay, great. So as I was saying, if you want to explore what it looks like for your organization, just reach out to either of us or through the link that Andres shared. We can have a consultation, an initial conversation to see where you are, how we can move forward. So thank you again for joining. We look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.